Thank you for tuning into today's podcast. I'm Scarlett Bayes, Senior Research Analyst at SDI, your host as ever, and I'm joined today by Adam Haylock, who is the Senior Solutions Consultant at ServiceNow. We spoke about really interesting things, as we always do on this podcast. Today's conversation was sort of centred around experience, not only customer experience or employee experience, whatever you call it, but also agent experience and how that affects a lot of things within an organisation. We also talked about where we think the industry is heading and the factors that are playing into that. It was really great talking to Adam because he has such an insight into the industry, which I think is really valuable. So I hope you enjoy listening to the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm here with Adam Haylock, who is the Senior Solutions Consultant at ServiceNow. How are you, Adam?
I'm very good. It's Monday, but it's nearly Christmas.
Yeah, it's nearly Christmas. It's dreary enough to be nearly Christmas.
Absolutely.
So we'll just start with some basic background questions. Who are you? Where did you come from?
So my background has always been IT, always been in and around operational IT, very much the service delivery area. So it's a classic route that you would have heard of in your business through, technical support into service desk, into service delivery. And my last job in operation was as a digital delivery manager. So delivering change in an organisation around digital transformation. So absolute passion is good service delivery, and really love the whole service environment from within IT. Currently working at ServiceNow, absolutely fantastic, as a solution consultant, working in our partner side of the business, which means I help our partners throughout EMEA in various ways, whether that's enablement or helping them sell or understand our products and so on. So fantastic times. Cool.
Is there anything that made you want to get into IT in the first place?
I think for me it was all around. I loved, this is going way back now, this is going back over 20 years. I really love just working and helping people. So, this is on a service desk, running around. I literally did run around with bits of paper in my hand, helping people. I really enjoyed it, talking to people, fixing their issues, and just, getting people, helping people do their work. It was good fun.
Yeah, I'd imagine the industry's changed quite a lot since you started.
Massively. I mean, that's a joke. That is the joke that I was running around with bits of paper. It was incredibly reactive. It was all about fixing stuff as fast as you can. It didn't matter. We didn't know why it broke or whether it was going to break again. It didn't matter. It was just run around, fix it, log it, and move on to the next one. But so we moved on much more now in terms of a different approach to service delivery.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Would you say there's anything, like any topics that you see like crop up again and again?
Yeah, I mean, within the industry, we're still talking about the same topics that I was involved in all those years ago. So, and we'll touch on this a bit later, whether that's talking about self-service and delivering portals to our customers, or effective change management, or why can't we as an industry and business finally get our heads around problem management, whatever it might be, they're still there. We're still having those conversations. I am a big believer technology has moved on so much now that it is starting to help solve those issues. There's still a culture and process side, but at least now the technology is starting to help make it easier for us. So certainly would make it easier for me if I was still working in operations, IT and service delivery.
I saw a blog post the other day that was something like, what's the difference between a help desk and a service desk? And I just thought, are we still on this?
I can't believe that.
Like, I've only been in the industry a few years, and even I'm like, are we still talking about this?
Yeah. No, that can be frustrating, and I see that as well. You go to conferences and you just cringe when you hear. I honestly don't even want to believe it's true, but you hear that password reset is still a number one highest. I mean, it cannot be true, but maybe it is.
That's what the stats say.
Yeah, you would know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we've talked a bit about what you're passionate about in work. Is there anything outside of work that you're passionate about?
Yeah, I do a lot of running. No.
Not my gig, but
yeah. No, I love I really love to spend time with my family, keep fit. I do love, keeping an eye on technology and so on, and yeah, just having fun.
Oh, nice. So when I asked you about what sort of topic you wanted to lean towards today, you said experience. And it's a very vague word, I guess, but it leans into employee experience and customer experience and really both sides. So why is there a specific reason that you wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, it's something I'm really interested in and really believe in and really passionate about bringing into work and into service delivery. So if you think about how we live our lives every day outside, what happens, what's our experience in terms of how we move around and our daily interactions. So what I mean by that's a few silly examples. My children are, get this right, 7 and 9. To think about that, they're 7 and 9. And if I just look at how they use technology and the experience they have, I got a Fire Stick in my TV, so integrated in the remote is an Alexa option. So they saw me use it once. Next day I come downstairs, they're putting their programs on the TV via voice command using Alexa. They don't think it's crazy or funny, or that's just how they use their daily lives. They ask Alexa what the weather's like to decide what type of jumper or coat they need to wear to school. Being deadly serious, they don't think it's amazing.
It's not a novelty to
them.
No,
it's just that's how they find out how to dress for school. So, and then we go on and we think about what we do in terms of mobile. So how much mobile has changed our experience. I was talking last week in Paris about AI within service delivery, and I gave the example of my day leading up to it was a webinar I was delivering, and I just thought about my morning. So I was up at 5 a.m, just in case my boss hears this, up at 5 a.m, all the way to Paris, and I thought everything was on my mobile, single click, easy experience, whether that's my boarding pass, the wallet on my phone, directions, single click to call an Uber, community collaboration tools, music, films, everything was seamless and that kind of digital easy experience. And then you think, what happens when we come into work very often, and I'm sure you see this in your role and the work you do, and we certainly do, it can be very manual and certainly far from that experience we have outside of work. So we're trying hard to bring that, blend those lines and bring that into the workplace.
Nice. So do you, this is going to sound silly, but do you monitor the experience of staff, and what are the best ways you can think of to do it?
That's a really good question, because how do you track experience? Now we can think about SLAs, that's a form of tracking, but not really, because we've all been there where, and I've certainly had this, we track SLAs that we think are good, and I turn around, my boss says, great job, Adam, in what you've done on your service desk, whatever it might be, because the SLAs say they're good, but actually they're not what our customers want, and we don't know whether they're good in terms of the rest of the industry. How do we compare those? How do we track experience? But it is starting to be talked about, and you hear people mention XLAs, and we start measuring actually experience. It is difficult, but I think it can be done, and there is even some technologies out there that actually start to track those areas of customer happiness and experience and so on. So we're starting to do it, but it's not easy to always prove satisfaction in terms of experience.
Yeah, I know one of your partners, Happy Signals.
Yes.
They have a brilliant tool where they can monitor experience live. We've done some work with them in the past, and it's excellent. The stuff that they do is really cool.
Yeah, I know that team well, and exactly that's what we're talking about. We're actually starting to see this in technology to start trying to capture it.
So obviously, experience for the customer is really important, but also for staff within IT or within the service desk. What I personally don't think that there's enough done to monitor the experience of staff members. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really glad you raised that, because the focus has always felt like it's for our customers, whether we call them customers or employees or whatever, okay, our customers, and rightly so. We've always done that. We've always made sure customer number one, and we make sure the experience and everything they have is fantastic and first class, and it should be. However, it's really good to see a kind of switch now, and certainly when we talk about experience, we talk about from a customer and an agent perspective, because service agents, customer agents, whoever you are, work incredibly hard every day, at such a fast pace, constant pressure, the moment you walk in the door, the moment you leave. So actually we need to make sure the experience is as good for them as it is for our customers. And we're seeing that in technology now. So we're doing lots of work in that space to make sure that they have the ability to do their job easily and fast every day. That can be in a few ways. That can be in, first of all, providing them with a modern, intuitive interface to do their daily job. Provide them the visibility of what they're working on, so actually they can solve issues faster for their customers, and so on. If we really want to start getting into it, actually we start bringing artificial intelligence into their daily lives. So the screens they're using, they can see, have information about already resolved cases that they're working on, and so on. So the point is they're able to deal with these requests really quick. Their lives are really easy, or easier, and they're able to move on to more important things, and actually the customer is still getting a good experience because their issues is solved quicker. So we're seeing this line blurred between customer and agents experience.
Yeah, I think that is a good way to look at it, because ultimately the experience of the agent and how they're feeling does affect the customer. Exactly.
So we've all heard the stats of if your business and your staff are happy, then your customers will be happy, and that's exactly what we're talking about and we're trying to achieve. And it's about, how do we do that again? It's about stripping away the manual stuff. Let's remove the need for agents to be doing the repetitive and manual, low value interactions, and let's let technology do that, so they can work on more meaningful stuff, because that's what they come to work for. They don't come to do password resets or the same task all over. Let's remove that by using automation and actually get them to work on important, fun stuff, hence being happy and enjoying work.
Yeah, because obviously if you feel that the work that you're doing is more valuable, you're intrinsically going to be happier doing your job.
Exactly, yeah.
So we recently published our benchmarking report, which comes out every 2 years, and the stats actually showed that fewer service desks are monitoring both customer and employee experience, which really surprised me. And I wonder if there's maybe why you think that is, or if you think it's going to bounce back, or it should bounce back.
It depends. So it depends what they are tracking and measuring instead of. So I don't actually think it matters what we tag it as long as we're measuring the right thing for that business. So let me try and articulate this. So going back to my SLA example, I used to produce a report every week. It would have green ticks all over it, smiley faces, positive comments. But honestly, looking back, we weren't tracking the right metrics or the right information to prove whether we were being a successful department or our customers were happy. So as long as what you're capturing and using as a gauge for your business is aligned to that business and that their outcomes and whatever their success criteria is, that's fine. Yes, I think we should be doing it, in my opinion, but again, as long as we're capturing information that we know is aligned to our business and outcomes, and it's thought about and it's correct, then that's the way it should be.
And that you do something with that information. You don't just let it sit there.
Exactly. So we're solving cases really quickly, and we've got 99% so what kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or another one is we've got 90%, this one really frustrates me, 90% portal usage for raising incidents, for example. Is that good? Probably, possibly, but maybe not. Maybe it's actually not effective, or it's a really badly designed portal and the agents are still. So that's what I'm getting to. As long as we capture the right information, and to your point, we then drive some sort of improvement off that information, that's key.
Yeah, going off of like self-service portal usage, I feel like a lot of service desks don't necessarily monitor the experience of using those alternative support channels, because the customer doesn't have direct contact with someone on the service desk or with a human most of the time. So I think they're potentially missing out on some insight into the actual experience of those channels.
Yeah, as we offer more channels to our customers, which is absolutely the way it should be, we shouldn't just offer a portal or a virtual agent, whatever. We should offer every channel available for our customers to use in the circumstance that suits them. So an example would be, let's offer you a portal, a virtual agent, even a walk-up experience. Can you believe that now? That actually we encourage people to walk up and use IT service delivery. 10 years ago I'd have got slapped for that. Now we encourage it because we've improved the technology. My point is, let's give all the channels so the customers can use the one that's appropriate to them. So when you're on the move, it's low value, it's a common request, use a virtual agent. If it's incredibly important and time sensitive, use a walk-up experience. And then you're right, how do we know which one's being successful? How do we know which one's being used? And we have to capture that information. And that comes back to visibility and information. And without that, we can't improve. So if you ever hear me talk about, new technology like virtual agents, I'll always cover that it's great and it's really easy to implement technology like that, and kind of leave on a Friday high-fiving, saying, haven't we done a great job? Unless we have the information of, is it being used? Where is it being used? Is it successful? We don't know. And then we can't put things in place to improve it.
Yeah. I think we also need to think about the integration of those channels as well. Yeah. Like if a customer needs to get from one channel to another, can they do that seamlessly?
Exactly. So the webinar I told you I did last week in Paris, my example, that was talking about, I think the title was augmenting AI with service delivery, and it was on your point. It was saying, how do we merge the two? How do we work together? Because it's so far from the scare stories of that robots are going to take over and do service delivery for us. I remember we were doing a trial with Alexa once, the place I worked before, and it just happened to be on my desk next to me. So it was in the middle of the desk with the chair, nobody was sat there, and I honestly got asked the question, has that replaced somebody now, as in a service worker, and it's going to do incident resolution? It's funny and we laugh, but that was honestly the thought. Robots can do it all. It's far from that. It's about removing the manual, low value tasks, and enabling us, the humans, to augment with technology and actually deliver what we're here to, huge amounts of value, and drive the outcomes of the business.
Yeah. I think that something that service desks should focus on, well, now and also in the future, is upskilling staff to be able to move along with technology.
Yeah. So we've got to be careful time, because I could go on and on about this stuff and get excited, but now we start talking about culture, and again, this comes back to experience. So what are the skills needed of a modern, if I can say that, a modern service desk, service delivery customer agent is very different than it was even 5 years ago, when it was manual. It was running around finding this information. Now it's very different because technology has removed so much of the unnecessary part of that role. But actually, we shouldn't be frightened of it, because we think about what's happening outside of work, that actually businesses and IT businesses and CIOs are actually feeling the pressure from their agents. They're the ones that are saying, hey, this is wrong, we shouldn't be working in this way. We should have technology in place that enables us to be more creative, be more innovative, and work on what we should be, and not wasting our time on repetitive cases.
Yeah, I think that is something to think about as well, that not all organisations are going to have
these brilliant technologies that enable them to work better. So we still need to, like, especially in my role, we still need to, yes, give the data and the thought leadership to enable more advanced service desks to, you know, continue to be more advanced. But we also need to think about the service desks that really aren't there at all.
And that's a fair point. And it's about a journey. So it's about where are you in your... So we talk about digital transformation, and we always talk about, or I talk about, where are you on that journey? And it's not about saying everybody is... You know, we know that many organisations haven't deployed AI or virtual agent, whatever it might be in their operations. So it is about understanding where they might be on their particular journey, how mature are they, and working with that and bringing those new skills in. I mean, that's fine. I just think as long as it's the thinking is right, the culture's right, the attitude's right towards service delivery, we can bring that side of it on much easier than the other way around. Because you have to be careful. You could have the technology but still deliver a bad service. So
you need both halves.
Exactly.
So would you say that implementing AI in those seamless workflows, that's what's next for the service desk or for IT?
Yeah, 100%. So we've been talking about automation in IT for many, many years. And I always got frustrated because you would hear it and you'd hear it talked about, but it wasn't really automation. It might be a tiny bit in the background, but actually we're so far away from actually bringing in true end-to-end automation on a large scale in our businesses. And so we need to continue on that path. We need to automate as much as we can. We'll never be able to do all of it, but we need to be clever, automate as much as we can, so we can then focus on, as I say, on delivering what we should be and not wasting time without it. So and it's really, you know, I'm very lucky in my role. It's really easy for me to sit here and talk about it, but I know I've been there and I've implemented this technology, and I know the challenges that are there when you're doing that. And that's when I come back to the phased approach. It's not about a big bang. It's not about going from let's say a very manual, if I can say outdated service desk with, you know, manual slow processes in place. It's not about me turning up and saying, tomorrow I think you should put AI and machine learning and virtual agent in. It's, you know, we have to do it in a phased consultancy type approach.
Yeah. So my next question was going to be, if there was someone working on a service desk that wasn't particularly advanced, listening to this podcast, what would be the first piece of advice you would give them?
I think we need to know what do you want to achieve in your business, or even just, let's just say on the service desk, what is your success criteria? Let's think about 2020. I'm assuming there'll be a level of planning and you would set your targets for yourself. Let's imagine I'm the service desk manager, service delivery lead. I would set targets for that year for my team personally that are of course aligned to my objectives from the CI, whoever. Once you've got that, you know what you need to do to be successful. You can then make decisions on, is it implementing technology? Is it about saying this year we're going to go out and we're going to change, we're going to provide omni-channel for our customers, true omni-channel, every channel available. Great. Or it might be, actually let's update our processes first because they're really old-fashioned, they're not fit for the modern agile world. Maybe they've got a change management process that's a blocker and you know you can't get anything put through change unless it's a 14-day cut-off window, all this ridiculous stuff that I've seen. Maybe it's just to clean up the processes first, upskill staff, get them ready for working in a much more agile, anywhere, anytime working way, and then bring the technology in. So I don't think I answered your question, but it's about getting organised, knowing what you want to achieve, because otherwise, if you don't, you might just go and get a bit of technology, or you might go and, I don't know, upskill your staff in a certain way or skill, get to the end of the year and think, well, actually, that's not what we needed, or it's not what our customers wanted. Yeah. So there has to be success criteria aligned to it.
Yeah, I love asking people that question because some people say, like, get your processes in order or automate as much as you can. But I think you're the first person to like take a step back and say, well, first of all, figure out where you want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And where are you now?
Yeah.
Because if you don't baseline, you'll never know if you were successful or not. So you could be, oh, I did this, it'd be great. So what? But if you can say, well, we were here and our CSAT scores were this or whatever, and now they're this, we can actually gauge and know if we've been successful or not.
One final question for you.
Yep.
So the sort of tagline of SDI is inspiring service desk to be brilliant. So I want to know, something I ask all my guests, is what inspires you?
Yeah, thanks for not giving me a heads up on that question. So what inspires me is, it definitely comes back to people. That's what gets me going in the day, and people doing creative, innovative things in their business and really making a difference. So it's all about the people, whatever area that is. If it is for tier 1 service desk providing an amazing customer experience, going above and beyond, or if it's leadership level being, inspiring in terms of their decisions to make change and be brave and drive an organisation on. It's the people side of business that really inspires me, and that's why I'm quite passionate about the technology, because it's helping that become a reality instead of us all being bogged down, stuck behind our desks, just typing away on emails and so on, and actually not being inspiring. So all about people, colleagues, collaboration, and having fun. And whilst we are trying, if we can, to make a difference.
All right, fantastic. That was a brilliant answer.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Next time someone asks you can just pull that out.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for being here today, Adam. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you, me too.